am Karen Bourgon, wife and mother of 6 and founder of the Deliverance Network and our local women's group Sisterhood. And we're going to be sharing with you this Holy Week and Easter special, and we're coming to you obviously amidst very unusual times with the COVID-19 crisis and the closure of all of our churches. And for many of the faithful, the first time in their lives that they've been unable to celebrate the sacraments and the experience of Holy Week and Easter. And I'm hoping that these experiences will share with you a little bit of enlightenment as to the times that we are in and offer you hope in this difficult Holy Week and Easter season. I'm going to share with you a dream experience that had Mary and very, very vivid symbolism of the need for us to cling to our faith during this and coming times. And an interpretation was given to me in a dream about a year later during the subsequent Easter season. And so in this early April, the 2008 experience, I was shown a large cornfield or set of grasses where a little lost soul in the appearance of what appeared to be Piglet was wandering amidst the lost high grasses and the corn trying to find its way out. And Mary appeared as if on a cloud pedestal and hovered over the field and was appearing there to help beckon people and call them to come out from the corn, from the maize, out of that state of being lost, and was calling the souls to come out and to climb onto a fence. And then from the fence, it was shown to me that it was not the safe place to stay either during this time or coming times, because the fence was just basically that decision point of am I going to choose God? And I was shown instead that souls can't stay on the fence anymore. And of course, the symbolism was staying on the fence. I was shown a long, tall, white pole at the end of the fence. And I was directed that souls must now choose to climb that pole and stay and hold fast to it during this time and coming times. And I can't think of a better time than the Easter season to exhort everyone to stay firm to their faith, because I was shown in the interpretation dream that the tall pole, it had no flag on the top because it was a universal flagpole. In other words, meant for everyone. And I was shown that this is going to be the only true place of safety during an upcoming time of devouring. And in the devouring was shown to be in the symbolism of a bear. And of course, we've heard of that symbolism before with regard to communism. And I was shown that Mary is then urgently calling souls to come out of that lost maze, to climb onto the fence, the choice for God, to then move to the even safer place of the tall mass, which is the universal church, that tall pole, and to cling to it with all their might, because that is the true safe refuge. And so this Easter season, I encourage everyone, despite the difficulties we are in with this very unusual Holy Week and Easter with the churches closed, to cling to the faith, to the traditions of the faith, the practices of the faith, and to not lose hope, because this is all part of God's universal plan. This Easter season, I'm going to share with you words that I received in a dream from Pope John Paul II after he had passed away. And they're from Thursday, January the 29th, 2009. And this Easter season and this unusual Holy Week we find ourselves in, I'm going to share this experience and would like anyone out there who has a little extra theological knowledge perhaps to ponder the meaning of this dream for me. It had to do with two men sitting in one common tub. And one side was a holy, good person, man who was naked and white, and beside him sat another who was clothed and black and dark. And it had to do with the portrayal of good and evil. And the person who was symbolized by the white person on one side looked up to me as I was an observer in this dream and spread his arms out as if on a cross and looked up at me, and he was indicating the man beside me, and he said, "Is he not the murderer?" And of course the murderer is always Satan. And so I speculate, especially the times that we have entered into with this unusual Holy Week and Easter, the state of the church. And I know there's quite a bit of confusion out there in the church, and what kind of evil may have infiltrated the church. And I'm not going to comment on that in any depth in particular at all during this experience, but I did want to share to you a sentence I received from Pope John Paul II that ended this dream experience, and it's most fitting to share it with you at Easter. And I think it's a warning for times to come as well. And Pope John Paul II simply said, "Your Sunday vigil should not fall." And experiencing this in 2009, one could not imagine the churches being closed and the cessation of the Holy Mass in a large part of the world. But it's ever more important now, this message I understand from Pope John Paul II, your Sunday vigil should not fall. And of course the Masses are still being said throughout the world by our priests, but our participation in it this Easter season definitely affected. I'm going to share with you a very profound, vivid, long, detailed dream experience of Jesus from September the 18th, 2005. And it has a little bit to do with the times we find ourselves in and the times coming, I believe. And in the beginning of this dream experience, I was working really hard to try to help clean up mess. And I was shown children everywhere in filth, and there was a lot of chaos and disarray. And this symbolizes, I believe, the state of filth in the world and sin. And that a lot of us have been doing everything we can through prayer and sacrifice and service to try to help in this cleanup. But that I've been shown it's come to the point where it's no longer able to be cleaned, and drastic measures are going to need to be taken, and things are going to have to change through other methods. And I've spoken about this before, this shifting of God's time of mercy into a time of justice, and that this time of justice is still part of God's mercy as a wake-up call for people. And as I was shown by the third party in the dream who appeared, that the area had become kind of a real battleground around me, a lot of rubble and upheaval, and I was shown that it was sort of coming from east to west, and I was brought at this point to an area that was like the Middle East and Egypt. And when I was brought to this new area by this third party, I was shown this whitewashed city of stone, as it were, and I think it might resemble or represent Jerusalem because of what happens afterwards in this dream experience of Jesus. And I was shown this absolutely chaotic, destructive, upheaving moment. And I cannot say if this is a moment to come for Jerusalem particularly. I know that it is biblical that Jesus will come and intervene to save particularly Jerusalem. And I was shown in the midst of chaos and destruction with these Middle Eastern and Egyptian men warlording. Jesus came in this dream experience in the most vivid and profound way. He was made of the same whitewashed color stone as this entire city. And of course, Jesus is our cornerstone and the cornerstone of the city of Jerusalem. And he appeared in a towering, immense rock form of Jesus, and he was towering over this city in the same stone as the city. And in the midst of the most heightened, chaotic, destructive moment, he appeared over the city in order to intervene. And I was shown then how he pulled at vestments at his chest and ripped them open. And as I saw him rip them open, I started to pour profound love for Jesus, of course, because the most brilliant, white, effervescent, emanating light spilled from his chest over this destructive, chaotic, teeming event. And he was in complete control of this chaos. And as he spilled this light over it, it was as if he somehow intervened before that destructive moment. And so I liken that again to Jesus' protection. Jesus' protection for all of us, but particularly perhaps a moment of protection for Jerusalem or a time of war coming up in the future. And after I was shown this, I was shown that the city was then somehow resurrected at peace, and everything was as it was before. So I really want to offer this as a witness to everyone in this Easter season, that Jesus does this for all of us. In the midst of chaos, destruction, difficult circumstances like we find ourselves in this unusual Easter season, Jesus is present to intervene. He is present to bring his light and his love and pour forth his love and his power amongst all of our lives in order to protect us from any destruction, chaos, upheaval we are finding ourselves in currently, and be the peace and the love of Christ for all. And I wish you all a blessed Easter. To find out more about these experiences and the writings that I have centered around them, please visit the Deliverance Network at www.deliverancenetwork.com. And if you're interested in our women's group Sisterhood, please check out www.sisterhood.live.